obviously, we believe that our business would have done tremendously much better if we would have fought on a level playing field. And it feels like we are instead having to innovate and fight for our business with our hands tied behind the back. Now, we're still winning and we're still kicking their ass, and I feel good about that. But we could have succeeded, and we could have benefited the music industry and creators a lot more. And there's still lots of innovation that we're constantly being hampered by. So a great example is when we wanted to innovate on behalf of authors in the audiobook industry. And truthfully, what we had in mind was something that was a lot better than what we ended up launching in the end, because Apple kept blocking us. So that's on one end. We're constantly we're succeeding in music anyway, but all the future innovation is being hamstrung by this. But more importantly, as you said, not just for the entire ecosystem, but coming back to my 14-year-old self, and the principles and values that attracted me to the internet and wanting to build things on the internet was that it was this completely open place. It was this place where this kid from, basically the projects in Stockholm was able to compete on similar terms that everyone else was able to do. And I truly believed that because of things like net neutrality and all those things that we fought for in the late 90s, I believe the best ideas won. And it was very hard for someone to use their size as an advantage.
My name is Rashad, and I'm the producer of The Logan Bartlett Show. Logan said I'm fired if we don't get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you're enjoying this content, please show your support by subscribing so we can keep growing, and more importantly, so I don't lose my job. Now back to the episode.
And it was very hard for someone to use their size as an advantage. We saw it all the time. Startups was constantly beating the bigger companies. It happened all the time. It doesn't happen as often anymore. And that's, I think, really problematic. And part of that reason is because of the situation that we're in. Basically, in this case, we have most of the internet now is being accessed through smartphones, which is two different platforms by two different companies. And one of these companies have decided to basically tax that entire ecosystem with 30%. And in our case, that happens to be more than what we're currently making. So we would, if we really followed what they would like to, we would have two options. We would either be loss-making business in perpetuity with negative unit economics, which means we would be bankrupt, or we would have to raise prices. And if we raise prices, they would take more than we would from that price increase. But more importantly than that, they also have a competitive product, which they obviously don't have to pay the same price point. So they would be able to bleed us dry. And so I look at it and I think I'm not just fighting for Spotify's case, but I'm fighting for what type of future of the internet we want. And I want one where the best ideas win. I want one where everyone's competing on equal terms. And to be clear, I don't mind that Apple has an app store. And by the way, they can charge whatever fees they wanted to if it was a possibility to not be on the App Store and still have an app, right? So they can charge 30% or 50%. If there was another store, I would be like, great, we're just not going to be on your store. Then we'll be on another one. But maybe for some developers or something else, that price is worth paying to be on Apple Store. But that's not a possibility, right? And that's what we're fighting for. And imagine now all the innovation. Like if we wanted to sell NFTs on behalf of artists today, we would have to use Apple's IAP and pay 30% for it. That's just one innovation that just honestly makes it almost not worth trying, even because of all the cumbersome and all the problems. And there's so much many more examples of this what we could do, but it'd be really hard because we'd run afoul of Apple's draconian rules.